So here's a question for you. In your life, are you following what is right, or are you following what is real? Are you letting your mind lead the way and tell you what's appropriate, what's expected, what is ethical, what is the right and righteous thing to do? Or are you tuning into something deeper, the intuition or the higher self, your heart, and feeling what actually feels real, what feels like the truth? This has been a big one for me this week because, well, here's a little life update, you guys. I actually haven't been in touch since I came to Hawaii. I am getting to a point of my visa ending in a few weeks, and I would love to stay here, but because of that, I can't right now. So I was making a decision about where to go from here. So I moved out of Bali, where I spent my last 6 years. I just felt very complete there, and it took me here. This has been a huge initiation and a very, very important step for me to come here. And I didn't know what to expect, and at the same time, I felt that it was going to life altering, and it has been so many beautiful ways. But the question now is, where do I go from here? And I created this plan that I would go to Slovakia because I wanted to continue researching land and communities here. So I want to come back here with a new visa that I need to apply for in my home country. And there's a couple of little pieces, errands that I want to also run back home. But as the time's approaching my departure here, I have been feeling a lot of unease about going to my home country. And I took this approach of like, let's see if I can make it really pleasant and fun. And so I started tuning into those parts that, didn't feel quite good for me. And I was trying to see if I can create some workarounds, alternatives, if I can get excited about that. And as I was doing that, there was this like, oh yeah, this can happen. And also at the same time, just this like deep, 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 deep knowing that there is a resistance. It's just like, ah. And it started bringing up feelings around basically being re-traumatized and going back to my mom's apartment where she died, and the place where I spent my childhood that I actually never liked. And just the fact that I don't feel connected in Slovakia very much to just the frequency there, in terms of people, but also the air is very dry compared to what I like, which is the tropics, and there is no ocean. So there is a lot of reasons that are actually very important to me, in terms of my lifestyle and how I like to live. And I thought, like I'm just gonna be there for a month or two and it's gonna be fine. Gonna save money, gonna stay in my mom's apartment and all that stuff. But then 2 days ago, I woke up and I literally couldn't move because I've been having very little sleep the nights before. There's been so much energy just like coming through, and I woke up and I almost couldn't move. I planned to go to a static dance, and I had to tell my friends that I'm like, I just need to be still all day. And as I was in that stillness, really this part started to emerge and let me know that there is still so much sadness and grief, but also she really needs to be heard. She really doesn't want to go there. There was a fear around kind of falling back into where I was before in terms of my nervous system. I had really bad panic attacks and claustrophobia attacks and lots of health issues last year. And it took me a whole year to get out of that and to get my health in a much better state. And that's sabotaging everything. It's sabotaging my ability to support myself, to have income, to connect with people, to do the things that I love. And I had to go actually into that stillness and that like quietness and listen within me what needed to be heard. And I'm just looking at this tree in front of me right now because what I realized is that I have been I've been really wanting to get this like inner work piece right, and I've been thinking that I have to go to Slovakia. It's going to be a great way to end the whole cycle and kind of like go and reclaim my sovereignty, and there's like a grand homecoming in a way, to really reactivate myself for the next 10 years or for the rest of my life. I'm really in that period at a moment where I feel that I'm kind of rising from the ashes. That's the moment. And I've been on a huge journey these last 2 years around learning what home means and what it feels like. And so there was a huge expectation around me needing to go back to my home country to be able to just be present there and to enjoy it. And it felt a little bit disappointing that I don't have those feelings. I can't do that. And I actually realized that I was asking myself, what is the part of me that needs to die? Because I'm so afraid of, literally dying in my mom's apartment, being there alone. I don't like that apartment, having health issues again, all this stuff. And as I was sitting with that idea of death, I asked myself, what's the part of me that needs to die? And for me, the answer was, it's the part that is trying to get it right. It's the part that's trying to figure it out. It's the part that's trying to do the right thing. That's the part that needs to die, because that's the seeker part. And I don't need to do anything. I really don't need to go where I don't feel good, and I don't need to come up with psychoanalytical justifications and frameworks to be able to understand why or why not. And it can be really, really that simple as, just me listening deeply to what makes me feel alive. Like that is the compass. I'm definitely not a person who avoids. I go head first into emotions and processing, and that's what I've been doing. So for me, and if you are like me, you've been in the self-inquiry and your personal growth space for many, many years. Actually, I think the piece that we need is to do the opposite, is to stop doing that. It's to stop growing. It's to stop trying. It's to stop trying to get things right and just ask ourselves, hi birds, this is so gorgeous here. This is the answer. Like, to actually be here. I'm in this beautiful, beautiful garden. It's actually a forest. It's a cloud forest. That's where I've been staying in Hawaii. This is the tree. I'll tell you about the tree in a second. And follow that aliveness. Follow the juice of life. And that's been a big challenge for me, because I've been raised in programs where people have to hustle and suffer and work hard and compromise and sacrifice. And that's literally the programming that's been coming through to me from my family. And it's not just, in my home country, it's lots of people out there, the clients that I work with, we all have those programs. And I also do know people who work hard and they really enjoy it, but like thoroughly. They are meditating. They're meditating while they're working on the land, while they're doing, the smallest things that other people might find annoying. So my answer to the feeling of home, okay, I'm looking at this tree right now, so I'm gonna tell you what I observed. So I'm imagining the physical roots being the place where I came from, and that's my physical roots, which is in my home country. But when you look at the tree, the trunk, the branches and the leaves, that looks very different from that. So, in essence, we shouldn't be trying to force ourselves to be roots our whole life. Like, in order for us to thrive and flourish, we do need to have the roots, we need to have the basis, the foundation, which I feel that I very much have. And there is so much that I'm grateful for in terms of my upbringing and, what I experienced as a child. And we don't need to stay there. In order for us to grow, we have to go into this unknown and develop this strong trunk and then branch out and have these beautiful leaves and fruits. And oh my gosh, look at this 3D heart. It's my favorite little creation here. So beautiful. Yeah, fruits on the tree, beautiful leaves, lots of beautiful things that are happening. And up there is the sunshine hitting the tree, right? And the birds that come visit. And this only happens if we really let ourselves to not stay stuck at one stage, not stay stuck in one environment, and explore other dimensions and other layers. So that's rooted down there in the earth. But then the rest of the tree is in the air. It's being kissed by the sun. And if the sun didn't hit the crown, even the roots would die because it wouldn't have nourishment. And so this is how I feel right now. Like, I do need to go and be in places that offer me that sunlight, literally. Slovakia has really tough winters for all my homies back home. We know how it is. And I also needed to embrace that I'm just different. I'm different. I'm different from my brother who lives happily, in our home country. And from the rest of the family, none of my family lives abroad. And I also know that my mom's soul was a free soul, and she would have lived abroad if she could. We had these conversations many times, and I know what was stopping her. And in a way, I feel that this is also a legacy that I'm carrying in terms of her soul's journey. She was always encouraging of me following my path, even when that meant that we actually didn't spend that much time together. And I had to really deal with the sadness around it and the regret around that. And at the same time, we have this unique lifetime, this one life that we have here in this particular body. We were born in this particular place, in this family, and it's our responsibility to live it in the best possible way. And for me, that means to be really in alignment with my truth and what is real, not what feels right. Because if we all do the thing that feels right, then we're all going to be just kind of locked and limited by the same constructs and ideas and rules. And we're all going to live similar lives. And I don't think that that's meant to happen. I think that we're meant to be lots of different trees and, have lots of different fruits. And then there's all these different other species and animals and plants on earth, and it's all super beautiful and diverse. So yeah, honoring what's real actually means finding home, that idea that our home is in our heart, the home is within. And to me, that is becoming more and more and more finding that inner peace and inner calm and inner sense of truth and attunement. The peace comes from the idea that I'm not going to abandon myself and I am where I'm meant to be. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to be afraid, and like kind of trying to limit myself because this feels uncomfortable, that feels uncomfortable. It's not about that. There is always a place or thing or person that feels comfortable, that feels aligned. We just need to have the courage to ask that question, because I think the reason why most of us don't is because we're afraid that the answer is going to mean that we have to change. We have to create a big change in our lives. And I spoke about this in my video when I was still in Bali. We are not really we're not really taught, we're not supported to move through change in our lives. So it's a pretty scary process. But if we lean into that and we follow we follow what we feel, everything magically aligns. And I know that people out there tell you this all the time, but it's really freaking true. Like, I can give you an example. The night I felt this feeling, I started being with this, like, oh shit, okay, I can go to Slovakia, what am I gonna do? And I started tuning into where it would feel good. And I'm working here with the limitation, you know, I have to leave the US, so I can't necessarily be where I would like to stay. And so I felt into what's important to me, and I figured that I would like to go to Costa Rica because I've been there before. It feels somewhat familiar. And I reached out to one of my friends who's there, and I asked him if he might know about any places to stay. And of course, this happened. He told me that he is literally going traveling on the same day as when I'm gonna arrive, and his house is gonna be available for 2 months, and that's how long I wanted to stay there. So it was like that, and he told me that he just decided it that morning. Like, I had these emotions in the evening on Sunday, and come Monday morning I started tuning into going to Costa Rica. I sent that message out and that was the day when he made that decision. And we were both like, of course, you know, this is how it works. Like, the moment you follow your intuition, and he's also leaning into something really big in his life. So this is the magic, and it's not a coincidence. This is how we create, and we create from our soul and our heart being in coherence, and then connecting to the brain and allowing the brain to, literally, I was going to say the word soften. You know, we don't want to have a soft brain, but in a way, yes, I want to have a relaxed brain. I love my brain, and I am very smart, and at the same time, I mean, my brain is so helpful in so many situations, and at the same time, there is time when it's not being helpful, and it's being restrictive, and it's just limiting. It's fearful. It operates, you know, in ways that have been ingrained through our ancestors for generations in order to survive. And I'm not fighting for survival in this lifetime. It's just not what I'm doing. And so I can be listening to that part of me that is still in that mode. And yeah, we can rewire our brain, and, you know, we're doing that eventually. But the best way to do that is to tap into the heart and listen to all the parts of ourselves, and connect also to our higher knowing. And the peacefulness in the body doesn't come from the brain. So yeah, doing what's real versus doing what's right, and doing what's true is a big one right now. And another piece that came up with this is to actually believe that we deserve a beautiful life. We deserve to be in our bliss and in our pleasure, which for me has been a massive challenge as well. I'm sure for many of you too. It's this piece around, if I receive something, I need to give something back. It's going to cost me something. And that is not true. But many of us have that wired in. So I'm going to go back to my meditation, which I interrupted because this just came through and it was too good to not share. Yeah, I know that you guys are navigating lots of changes in your lives right now. We all are. Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying these things and sharing this video, because we're all so connected. And I think these pieces are really important for us to ponder on, because we have to change our way of living in order to thrive. And I am committed to that way of living. And sometimes the doubts and fears come on. They do, they always do. But then I go and sit on the grass and breathe, and, you know, this is it. this is where the answers are. And return back to stillness and to ourselves and just deeply listen. We don't need to go and try to find answers out there. Definitely not on the AI. I mean, the AI is really helpful for some things, but yeah, it will never replace your soul, your soul's calling, and your unique path in your heart. Let me know if this landed, what you might be going through. Feel free to reach out in DMs. Many of you do that normally because I know that these things are quite personal and not everyone feels like sharing them publicly. My path is to share these things and also to share, you know, the kind of peculiar, strange ways that I've been navigating my life, because I know that I'm different from a lot of people, and I am coming to embrace that and really understand this is not necessarily just like, it's not about me, it's about the current of energy that runs through me that gives other people a permission to live their lives. And it's thought-provoking, it's, you know, it might be really provocative, it might be triggering for you. But yeah, I guess I'm one of those souls that are here to just to invite us all to have a little bit of fun with life and to feel it in all its beauty. I've been so oblivious to it most of my life. This only started coming online. I mean, I had my first burnout and kind of breakdown 10 years ago, and that's when I woke up to it. And I knew something was missing, something wasn't right. And since then, these last 10 years, I spent just being an Alice in Wonderland and learning, relearning about myself, about the world, about life, about the universe. So, yeah, this is coming from that place of giving yourself a permission to listen, like deeply listen. What can you hear? The birds. And just looking at this beautiful little breeze. It's subtle, you know? It's very subtle what's going on here, but the sun is starting to come through more. The plants are swaying so lightly. And all these sounds in the background. And being fully present is to just listen, deeply listen. Use your beautiful eyes to look and appreciate. We forget about all those things when we do the things that are right. We don't have time for that. That doesn't make me happy. This makes me happy. This makes me very happy being here. Yeah, I love you guys.